Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we were running more missions for the ordos than what was it? Last one was Intel. And we'll just keep running ordos. I still gotta get these ranks up. I'm sitting at rookie numbers. Because this is gonna take a while to hit that 200, 300 mark. I'm just glad all of them are at the 100 mark at this point. We'll go with Ordo Malleus. Just start punching through these purge missions. Okay, physical resist. I don't have to care. Influence, glory. There was one I was looking for specifically. Okay, that answers my question on that. Reflect damage is warp damage. That's fine. I need... tarot cards and Empyrean seals. That's what I'm looking for. Physical resist for melee enemies. Oh man, this is actually working out really well. Yeah. Okay, the heat resist for champions. We're not rocking that one. But elites get... God, they're gonna have a lot of health. Oh well.
Maim the heretic, slay the treacherous Xenos, banish the fork-tongued demon spawn.
So, as some of you have pointed out to me and mentioned in comments, we finally got a release date for the Sororitas. It is next week on the 28th, which I'm trying to think off the top of my head if that's a Tuesday. I think it's a Monday? Yeah, I think it's a Monday. It's kind of a weird release. Whatever. But either way, we're finally getting that. The part that's bugging me is they kept saying, oh, in the weeks leading up to the release, we'll have all this footage to show you and all this stuff. They haven't shown anything. We are 8 days as of the time of this recording away, and we have not seen anything. Hopefully, in the couple days between recording and actually putting this video out, we get something. Because right now... I said to one of my friends, at the rate this is going, this feels like it's going to be a Diablo 3 Necromancer class kind of situation, which I was butt frustrated over that, because I didn't want to pay I didn't pay $15 for a single class. I simply said no. I had nothing else to play, and I sat down and said, you know what? I'll play something I've already played instead of paying $15 for a single class. And that's currently what's worrying me. And if they ask for more than $15, then they're smoking crack. Because there is no justification in my eyes for even $15 for a class. Especially when you look at the pictures of the Sororitas. There's a number of weapons that are already in the game that they're just reassigning. So yeah, we'll get a couple new weapons, and the Axe of Faith are cool. But as it stands, there is nothing to stand on for this DLC. And we also don't have a console release date. Flat out, we've been told, oh, we don't have one because they're trying to figure out, there's an issue with... what is it? There's some issues with the PS5. So they're trying to sort those out, which credit where credit is due. Good on them for trying to sort it out. Especially when we've had bugs that have been going for over a year because they just never update the existing version of the game. But it's just kind of irritating. I assume just me throwing a date out, we won't get the DLC for consoles till January, if not February. Because I don't know if the studio is American-based or not. I'm just going to assume they are. Yes, Americentric view on the world, yada yada. But assuming they're an American studio, they will have Thanksgiving coming up, so that's going to take some time out. Then you have roughly half of December, maybe a little closer to 2/3, and then you have winter break. You have Christmas, New Year's, nobody's in the office. Nothing's getting done. So that's a dead time. I've seen some studios where they'll take even parts of January off. You know, the first week, first 2 weeks. The wildest I heard was a month. But no matter what, that's dead time too. So we're putting it out even further. I just really hope we get something more than just the class. Because while that is content and that is something to do and play, and that's great, you can only look at that for so long. You know, it's the new class. Ooh ah. If we don't have new enemies or anything like that, it's gonna wear itself thin pretty fast. Not to mention, the class will, to a degree, be behind the power scaling a bit in terms of archaeotech.
But you can certainly fight, Inquisitor.
Because when you think about it, we've had, just on console, we've had 3 seasons. We'll hopefully be getting 4 soon. But PC's on, what, 5? Getting close to season 6? So they've gotten more gear. Yeah, some of the weapons will be able to transfer over neat and clean, but some won't. And stuff like armor, that's gonna put them behind. And I think part of the problem is the Tech Adept still suffers from not having enough weapon types as is. The Tech Adept is just like, oh hey, here's 2 guns, and I think 1 melee weapon, and then we have a second, nearly identical version, and that's all. It works, but it's not much to go off. It just... There's a lot of questions to be had. Let's nuke these guys. Boom. Not a lot in terms of chests.
The enemies of the Imperium failed miserably.
Teleport beacon in range.
We're taking this teleport beacon. Oh. Here I thought it was going to be a loot room. I was about to say, wow, no worthwhile loot, but that really wasn't the point of that anyways. Oh, also, forgot to mention this. From the weekly rewards things, I got this. So we're gonna, wow, I'm already not that impressed. Suppression damage, okay. I can't complain too much about suppression damage because I've been kind of needing that, but I'm probably gonna reroll that into something better. Neural implanted concussion, this is going to be all suppression. Now that I'm reading it and using more than 2 brain cells, it's going to be a suppression neural implant, but it's plus 21 points better than my old one, but my old one's solid. I still have it. It's just over here. Because, I mean, shock on critical hit chance, critical hit strength, bonus damage against shocked enemies, supreme critical hit chance, and critical hit strength against shocked enemies. That's just gonna chain. This... the force isn't bad, that's extra damage. But... it's also not that great. Stun on critical hit, okay, stun is good. We'll have to see how these missions without dying and kill commander creatures on my level or higher pan out. If they're good, great. If not, well, it's going in the garbage. Even though it doesn't fit at all I can think of is Loverboy's song Working for the Weekend. And everybody's working for the ordos. I think I'm an idiot. Dying fails the mission. Okay. Note to self, don't die. Psalm code. Yeah. Chance to create demons on psychic power use. Don't really care. +1 melee enemy and melee enemy groups. Don't care. This is panning out. And champions. +1 champion. Okay. We can do it.
Maim the heretic. Slay the treacherous Xenos. Banish the fork-tongued demon spawn.
But going back to Sororitas DLC, I'm just trying to think, for things they can add, they could add orcs, or, if they want to be real cool, I mean, they could also add Tau if they wanted, but I was thinking they could add Tzeentch, and we could get some cool Chaos Demons from Tzeentch. Maybe Slanesh, Emperor's Children. It's kind of going that way if you think about it, because we encountered a clone of Fabius Bile. So we have that connection a little, but at the same time, he's only kind of Emperor's Children, since he's effectively a mercenary at this point. I mean, he's also the equivalent of, like, Joseph Mengele. This is not gonna end well. Actually, it's looking like it might end pretty decent, at the rate we're going. All I gotta do is keep baiting them around. Occasionally drop a hit on them. Hopefully not die. But they don't have any bonus heat resist. So everything I land is, yes, he's dead. That was the best takedown I've had of those guys in a while. And all that loot sucked. It's whatever. I keep saying it's not really as much about the loot in these missions. If I want loot, I do Void Crusades and proceed to get pummeled into unconsciousness. Oh, I saw one of the new seasonal items. I'm jumping around, but it was a Weird Vein Staff, or possibly a Weird Vein Staff, that adds +1 warp vulnerability on hit. And I had to laugh just because I already apply 3. I peak out at 10. If I could infinitely stack, sure, I would go absolutely bananas with that. But I can't. And I know why, because that would be stupidly powerful. Just think about that. I can put a bunch into actually boosting warp damage, and if I just up and decide, oh yeah, I'm just gonna stack vulnerability so my, let's say 150 damage. Oh, 100% vulnerability. Well, that's now 300 damage. 200%. Oh, that's 450. I just keep stacking the more hits I land. Yeah, they're going to slowly bleed off, but I can keep those stacks up real high and make it real ugly. So I get it. Even though I am a firm believer in letting people just ball out of control. But I get it. There's a PvP element, even though I don't know who the hell plays PvP in this game. It's like playing PvP in Back 4 Blood or Left 4 Dead. I see people complain for Back for Blood. They're going, oh, why don't you support the PvP? And I'm thinking, who the hell plays PvP? These are probably the same kind of psychos who play Tetris 99. Which I still can't believe someone actually sat down and said, well, let's make Tetris a battle royale. We as a society have gone too far. The meteor needs to come. But since I was on a tangent and trying to keep somewhat on track here, with adding new factions for the Sororitas DLC, they need to add somebody. I think Chaos is the safest bet. And because if you really wanted to, and I would actually really like this, they could add... It's what I'd like to see is Renegade Guardsmen with faction affiliation. I get the whole, oh, just Renegade Guardsmen line, but I would prefer a straight up, these guys specifically work with, just like we've seen before. There are guardsmen who are Cornate Guardsmen. Doesn't have to be explicitly blood pact, but it can be in a similar vein. Because we have some goopy snot boys that are definitely Nurgly, so why don't we, get another faction in? It's an easy way to add factions. Does it kind of bloat the game with guardsmen? Yeah, but that could easily be remedied by having it when you roll your enemies for a mission, it's a 2-stage roll. You make it, guardsman is the initial one. Okay, you rolled guardsman, then you roll generic rando renegades, Cornate, Nurgly, whoever. Because to me that makes sense. It splits it out so you don't have that bloated and heavily weighted chance of them being picked, and you don't have to individually kneecap their spawn rates, because that doesn't help. If it's a, let's say, 20% chance, and you have one faction, and then you add 4 more, and you make it 4%, so it totals up to 20. Yeah, the overall chance is still there, but the chance of actually encountering the specific one you want is far worse. Granted, that'll happen either way, no matter how you chop it, but at least this way, it's not as wonky. I'm still just annoyed that we haven't seen any footage. And I've seen a lot of people on the forums who are pretty annoyed by all this too, and I definitely agree. There needs to be a little bit better managing of all this stuff, because it just feels very ad hoc, very slapdash, like, oh god, we forgot that we promised this DLC. Quick, do something. And I get to a degree the footage. You can't just grab footage from a dev build and toss it online. One, community managers don't have access to that stuff usually, and 2, you don't realize how many hoops you have to jump through just to get stuff okayed, just for like footage to show. I have heard nightmare stories of guys having to go through just a dozen hoops. You have to go through sometimes legal to make sure everything's alright, and it's not fun. That is a problem I have, is I get it, you don't want to misconstrue things or show things that aren't in the game or that are subject to change, but we already get the subject to change stuff all the time. I feel like a lot of it is, it's the marketing side. You don't want to make anything look bad, you want to sell it as hard as possible. So, you do what you can. Honestly, you kind of do what they do for advertisements on TV and online for food, where it looks like a burger, but it's actually like a chunk of meat that's been drawn on and painted with like epoxy to look right, and it's essentially a prop more than actual food. That's how I feel with all these trailers lately. Every game sits there, look at our in-engine, highly rendered, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, cool dude, I don't care. Show me actual gameplay. Show me what your frame rate really is. Because you see it a lot, especially in indie stuff, is they'll show a game, whoa, that's close. Don't like how bad that went. But they'll show a game. The worst I've seen is some of the crypto scams. They'll show it, but it'll be quite literally in Unreal Engine. They're just using Fraps or OBS to screen cap. I'm thinking, that's not good. That's not selling anyone on anything, my guy. I feel like that actually does more harm than good. Okay, good, they're all gone. I'm worried about what's it. You see that part? That big arena spot? That's what I'm worried about right now. Because that looks like a bad place to be in. And if I was gonna spawn a boss, that'd be exactly where I'd put it. Wide open area, lots of maneuverability for a player. Also very much an arena. But hopefully by the time this comes out, or the week after, we get some news. Proper news. Because I know a lot of you folks watching are pretty interested. I'm glad to see I'm not the only person who actually enjoys Sisters of Battle.
Swinging our way. One last push and the victory is ours.
I always laugh though when people complain. It's always the complaint about female space marines. And people say, well, you have the all-female Sororitas. And it's always, oh, we don't care about that. And I'm like, you shut up. The Sororitas are awesome. They're nuns with guns. They deserve way more love and respect than they get. And it's disappointing because they're so much cooler than a lot of the Space Marine chapters. I'm sorry. When you look at some of them, they're just bland. White Scars, for instance. I love the Mongolian theme, but they are so forgotten that they're bland as can be. And the vehicles for Space Marines are kind of meh. But you look at some of the stuff for the Inquisition and the Sororitas. I love, I think it's the Exorcist. It's like a rhino tank, but they have a giant church organ that fires rockets out of the pipes. That is the coolest thing. But no, people just don't bother, they don't care, and I'm thinking, you're missing out on some cool designs. Yeah, it leans real heavy into the ecclesiarchy vibe, but man, it at least does it well. Credit where credit is due. They at least make it look real cool. They could have half-assed it entirely. but they didn't. Honestly, now that I think about it, I'd like to see faction reworks entirely for this game. Because, look at this, we have the Word Bearers. The Word Bearers should be very heavily oriented around summoning more demons.
You gave them death generously. My compliments.
Because that is a big part of their deal, is demon summoning. And I'd really like it. It makes each faction stand out a little more than what we have at the moment. Come on, give me good loot. Money. Money. Nothing. Oh well. And no good loot there either. Oh well. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.